You're watching Faultlines. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. This week, we are going to talk about the big fault line running across the Caribbean. US versus Venezuela. What's the fight all about? And more importantly, what are Venezuelan president's options? And what is Donald Trump's big game plan? The second big fault line, the one that runs across the 800-kilometer line that divides Thailand and Cambodia. Has the peace plan and the peace agreement already fallen apart? And the third story on the show this week, we always bring you cutting-edge details about the latest weaponry. And this week we talk about the Israeli drone. And why is it that India wants to procure more of it? It was very successful during Operation Sindoor, and we're going to tell you why India wants to have more of it. On to our top story this week on Faultlines. Washington's war rhetoric against Venezuela is proving to be a front row thunderclap, viewers, with cabinet room vows to sink the narco-terrorists, lethal strikes at sea, Marines drilling in Panama, and the world's largest aircraft carrier prowling the Caribbean. The fault lines of this escalating US-Venezuela confrontation have never looked sharper. This is an all-out showdown testing the limits of law, diplomacy, and deterrence. And at the center of it all, of course, are these accusations that are flying in from both directions, and more people are getting killed. Region continues to edge towards a conflict neither side claims to want, but both sides seem, well, ready to fight. First up, let's take a stock of the ever-increasing build-up in Venezuela's backyard. I'm going to put out some of those specifics to tell you how this is possibly the tinderbox in America's backyard. First and foremost, there's a carrier strike group that is positioned close in the event that America wants to escalate this. Next up, there's a destroyers are shadowing Venezuelan waters. Again, these are all optics that are meant to prove a point that if Maduro doesn't take these cues, then America has options. What else are the options? Then there are these F-35 patrols that is taking place daily. F-35 is a formidable machine, and if those patrols are happening daily, that is meant to tell that Venezuela is running out of options. Special forces ship on station, and lastly, the Panama drills that are simulating combat in the possibility of the fact that they are looking to escalate this. Now, this is, well, how things stand right now. But if you think these formations are symbolic, take a closer look. They are strategic leverage in a standoff that's now stretching from the Caribbean all the way till Capitol Hill. And as Congress probes alleged illegal strikes and the Pentagon signals more on-ground action, yes, that is also a possibility. This crisis is no longer theoretical. It's unfolding in real time. If there is a possibility of American forces actually entering Venezuela with a ground assault, we are talking absolutely nothing left on the table. It's raising haunting echoes of past face-offs that began with rhetoric and ended with repercussions nobody could rewind. And now we take you inside the history, the bad blood, the miscalculation, and of course the moments that brought Washington and Venezuela to a razor's edge. Take a look.
For more than a quarter of a century, US-Venezuela tensions have simmered and spiked. But now they are surging towards breaking point. It is a conflict defined by power, pride, and a dangerous pattern of escalation. It starts in 1999 when Hugo Chavez sweeps to power. He rewrites Venezuela's political order, turning Washington from partner to target. Then in 2002, a failed coup topples Chavez for 48 hours. Caracas blames the US, a charge denied, but the distrust becomes permanent. Maduro takes the reins in 2013 as protest, shortages, and economic freefall grip the nation. Washington hits back with sanctions, cuts financing, and ultimately recognizes opposition leader Juan Guaido in 2019, freezing relations to Arctic levels. Disputed elections in 2018 and 2024 keep Maduro in power. Millions flee, hyperinflation explodes, and Washington brands Caracas a corrupt criminal state. Then 2025 sets the fuse alight. Trump revokes protection for Venezuelans in the US, slaps tariffs, doubles a bounty on Maduro. He even labels the so-called Cartel de los Soles a terrorist network without presenting public proof. September brings lethal US maritime strikes. At least 83 killed on alleged drug boats. Legal experts call them extrajudicial. The White House calls them necessary. By November, an aircraft carrier, destroyers, bombers, and thousands of troops swarm the Caribbean. Trump warns of land strikes very soon. 26 years in, 2 presidents down, and one spiraling standoff later. Washington and Caracas now sit on the edge of a conflict neither side claims to want. But both sides seem ready to fight.
Now viewers, if you take off your blinkers, you realize that this is the largest troop build-up by the US since its invasion of Panama in 1989. And the Trump administration will not back down because it's for 2 reasons. This is about drugs and this is about immigration. Both campaign promises for Donald Trump. It may be sketchy on the details, but the plan for Donald Trump is clear, that Maduro needs to leave. He's already doubled the kind of bounty on the Venezuelan leader's head. And for that, Venezuela needs to decide how soon it's going to make way for another leader. Whether or not there's actually going to be stopping of those drug lines is anybody's question, because most of them come from the Pacific, not the Caribbean. Whether it will actually lead to ending illegal immigration, again, anybody's guess. 8 million Venezuelans have fled the country in 11 years. Only about 20% have actually come to the US. But this may also be about installing a pro-Washington, pro-Trump president in Venezuela, which is why this has only just begun. Turning attention now to how things are unfolding and unraveling in Thailand versus Cambodia. We trace how fiery rhetoric and rising tensions on borders can ignite a conflict, one where we have helped you track all the escalating disputes, international interventions. And today we explore how the fragile truce between Thailand and Cambodia is fraying, and more importantly, what it means for peace in the entire Southeast Asia region. Donald Trump may have claimed that he got about peace in the region. That isn't the truth anymore, because Thailand has already said that they don't want to follow that peace pact anymore. We take you through the latest developments, the historical clashes, why these 2 countries are continuing to dispute that 800-kilometer long border, and more importantly, what's at stake for the region. But first up, let me walk you through this report that details the latest provocations and escalations that have led to a situation and a possible brink once again.
Thailand and Cambodia stand on shaking ground after mind-band talks in Geneva cracked open old wounds with new bite. Both sides accuse the other of playing legal hardball, even as their fragile ceasefire creaks under pressure. The tension is rooted in July's firestorm. It was the worst violence in 10 years. It erupted near the Tha Mueang Thom temple complex, a sacred centuries-old site perched on the border. One like a stone witness to every feud. Within days, fighting spread to 12 locations. There were artillery, rockets, Thai airstrikes, and civilians running for their lives. At least 38 dead, 300,000 displaced. A landmine blast a day earlier injured 5 Thai soldiers, triggering accusations of new Cambodian mines. It's a claim Phnom Penh denies. Ambassadors were recalled as tempers soared. Then came the political drama. The leaked call between Thai PM Paetongtarn Shinawatra and Cambodia's Hun Sen. The leak upended Bangkok's leadership and torched the last threads of trust between the Shinawat and Hun dynasty. But these tensions echo back centuries, from the Khmer Empire's reach to Siamese conquest to French-drawn borders that left temples like Preah Vihear and Ta Muin Thom trapped in territorial limbo. The ICJ clarified ownership, but the land around the temples remains a powder keg. ASEAN finally brokered a ceasefire on July 28th. But the world has witnessed many times firsthand that peace built on contested stone can crumble fast. It usually does. And with rhetoric flaring again this week, the question returns: how long before history repeats itself at these temples once more?
Now, as you just saw, this dispute between Thailand and Cambodia is about trust. It's about history. It's about adherence to international law, not just about territory. And as landmines continue to threaten lives and diplomacy plays out on the world stage, both countries face choices that could either de-escalate or reignite this entire region. Let's take a look at the historical contexts that have actually led to this situation and why this is not going to end anytime soon. First and foremost, this is something that goes way back to 1950s when both sides have actually saw the initial border disputes that started becoming important. You move to the 1980s where you see that there were periodic skirmishes that flared up, nothing that led to massive loss of lives, but nevertheless there were skirmishes on both sides. By 1999, some peace accords were being signed, but were they actually followed? Were they adhered? That's the question. Because this year, in July 2025, clashes erupted, which were probably the worst and the bloodiest that the two countries have seen in decades. Dozens were killed and thousands were actually displaced. Malaysia had mediated a ceasefire. Donald Trump took credit for it. He also got nominated for a peace prize. It almost seems like a tune that you sing every time that there is a peace project that is coming up. Donald Trump gets a Nobel Peace Prize recommendation. But guess what? That peace project has fallen apart. That agreement hardly stands true because by December 2025, those tensions have flared up once again. Which brings us to our blinkers off section, viewers, which is that it's far easy to announce a peace agreement and far tougher to implement it, and even more difficult to ensure it passes the test of time, history and different versions of maps. As far as this issue between Thailand and Cambodia is concerned, there are two that are stopping a long-term peace to actually come in place. First and foremost, Cambodia was a French colony and this was a French map that Thais do not recognize at all. If one side doesn't recognize the border, then chances are that that will never lead to any long-term peace. Second, Cambodians have used these landmines as a tried and tested process for all military, war and all other such escalations. Something that violates international law, but that hasn't stopped Cambodia either, which means both sides are willing to jettison international law at the first instance possible. Donald Trump needs to do better than just claim peace agreements for the sake of a Nobel Peace Prize. On that note, slipping into a short break, we come back on the other side, talk more about that big piece of military arsenal that India wants to procure more of and why is that a game changer. Stay with us. And finally, viewers, India's eyes in the sky are due to get even more sharper. Fresh off the success of Operation Sindoor, New Delhi is now doubling down on the Israeli drones, which are Heron Mark II. Israel is soaring to the top of a mega drone deal. Fasten your seat belts. This next report has altitude, attitude, and strategic latitude all mixed.
When Operation Sindoor unraveled Pakistani defences with precision, one silent sentinel kept watch up above, the Heron NK-2. A drone so persistent, it can stay awake longer than the night itself, 45 hours in the air, over 1,000 kilometers without a sip of fuel. After the operation's success, all three services have rushed in through emergency procurement windows, signing on for more satellite-linked Heron NK2s. No red tape, no waiting game. You see, apart from flying high, this UAV also flies smart. On the 7th of May, one Heron NK2 slipped past the border. It captured missile strikes deep behind enemy lines and returned with proof etched in pixels. A covert witness to an undeniable chain of events. But the story does not end here. India is now in the market for 87 Mali drones. It's a 20,000 crore tri-service powerhouse project. And once again, Israeli firms are powering the flight. In fact, Indian giants like Hindustan Aeronautics are already working with Israel Aerospace Industries. As the saying goes, the sky's the limit. But on modern battlefield, India's drones are proving even that's just a milestone. With the Heron MK2 leading the flock and a mega Mali deal on the runway, New Delhi's unmanned arsenal is ready to spread its wings wider than ever.
To talk more on this, Lieutenant General Sanjay Verma joins me to talk more about how this purchase is going to be so significant. General Verma is former DG Weapons and Equipment of the Indian Army. So help us understand the significance of these drones and why they are going to be a big game changer for Indian Army.
Good afternoon, Gauri, and all the viewers. I think this is a very phenomenal acquisition or procurement which will fructify in the time to come, because this is a potent platform. In today's environment, in today's warfare, gathering of intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition is the most critical thing which goes to declare who is the winner. Like we talk about the OODA loop, till the time that the entire information does not come in, how do I take a decision? And with the multiple sources of information which is coming, this sort of a platform up in the sky, which is going to give me an endurance of almost 48 hours at an altitude of 35,000 feet, this is exactly what the defense forces require.
Okay.
And one interesting thing in this is that while Navy is also going for it, it will help us in interoperability between the Army, Navy and Air Force. So this is going to give actually a potent force for the defense forces to gather information and be in a position to respond.
In terms of specifics, this was something that was a big differentiator during Operation Sindoor as well, and also provided us great lessons in terms of our future and forward-looking plan for defense readiness. What, according to you, are those top 2 or 3 things?
This is one of the most important things. With the type of borders we have, with the type of coastlines, almost 15,000 kilometers and 7,000 kilometers, we need to have a 24/7 watch. How is it possible? We cannot have any areas which are not covered. So this sort of a platform with technologies which you are talking about, I will name artificial intelligence, where the decision making, data analysis and giving a credible input to the soldier on ground, which target to engage, with what weapon to engage and how to engage. This will speed up the entire operations. And one important thing I should mention out here, that this is a tried and tested platform. And the best thing is, in fact, there is a joint venture with Elcom Systems where the entire MRO is being looked after. It's a very well established system. And I look at a lot of transfer of technology happening, because my information says that almost 65% of ownership is of AI and 35 is of Elcom. So naturally, it's a joint venture, tried, tested, well evaluated, and it will be maintained, repaired and overhauled in our own country. And it will also give more avenues for better models to be evolved here.
All right. Finally, General Verma, I want to ask you this, that beyond this, beyond these very important drones, what would you want to be that one next addition that is going to be equally important?
Okay. So like the intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition, safeguarded. Next focus area of mine, if you ask me, should be precision guided munitions. We are looking at in large numbers. may also call it loitering munitions, but precision is the word. Precision guided based on the input I have got from these, my eyes in the sky, I should be able to neutralize all sorts of threats which are looming ahead.
We leave it there. Thanks so much for speaking to me on Faultlines. Well, the blinkers off segment in the show, well, viewers, the fact is that Operation Sindoor has been an inflection point for India to realize that when it talks about military readiness for the future, which are its equipment, which are its areas that it needs to double down on. S-400 being one and these Israeli drones being the other. It also gave the opportunity for India to have a big picture view about what is its larger military readiness, which is why this purchase and the ones possibly for about S-400 and S-500 are going to be so important for India. Remember, Operation Sindoor is still on, which is why military readiness has to be 110 on 100 always. All right, viewers, with that, we wrap things up on this edition of Faultlines. Thanks so much for watching.